What's up, people? Welcome to Life Study Library. This is your host, Lye Yosh. In this channel, you'll be able to learn about these interesting and actually useful information on science and psychology as I talk about it using various scholarly articles. In this video, we'll be talking about this one scientifically proven technique that you can use to study better. So, to the students who are trying to get a good grade, or if you want to perform well in your job, if you're interested, please enjoy the rest of the episode, and like always, please show your support by subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and sharing to others that this channel exists. Okay, let me take you away. So first off, if you haven't heard of the term Pomodoro technique, I think it would really benefit you to know this and be able to use it because this technique is literally about how you can use science to study better. And like always, I have scientific evidence to prove my point. But since this video will mainly be a technique-based explanation, I just want you to try it out and see the results for yourself. That would be the best source of evidence that can persuade you, in my opinion. So let's begin. First, I want you to get a pencil and a notebook, and any material that you need or want to study, and face the desk. You can pause this video, I'll be waiting. Okay, now that you're here, take your phone or any kind of alarm clocks you have. Set it up to, let's do 20 minutes for now. I'll tell you beforehand that the time can alter depending on your preference. And if you're going to be using your phone to time yourself, make sure you disable any notifications or any sounds and put your phone directly behind you or anywhere you can't see. For me, I just put it behind myself. Now, once you start the timer, immediately focus on your activity and concentrate as much as possible. If a distracting thought pops up, then calmly acknowledge, I see that I'm feeling distracted, and then calmly point your direction to focus back to the task you're working on. I'm pretty sure this would feel unnatural when you first start, and since this part of the activity isn't directly related to the Pomodoro technique, I'll recommend you to watch another video of mine called What is Flow? Finding your ideal environment to concentrate and perform. Part of this video talks about the mechanism of your mind when you get distracted from staying concentrated and what to do about that situation. But any info that's missing from that video, I'll make sure to talk about it in this video, and if not, in the future. But back to the Pomodoro technique. So after you concentrated and worked on your task for that 25 minutes and the alarm sound brings you back to this world, you set yourself a 5-minute break and rest. Yeah, this is exactly one whole Pomodoro. If you feel like you can do more, then go for it. Repeat this whole thing. If not, that's fine. But ideally, you want to do about 4 sets of this before you take a long 30-minute break. And then after that, you continue doing the activity until you're finished with that task. So yes, this is the Pomodoro technique. This technique was officially introduced to the public around the 80s and has been talked about in many books, both his and other books. I'll put the link to the book in my description, so if you want to learn more about this particular technique, then I recommend you read more into it. I also use this technique whenever I need to work on my podcast or do some other work. Simply put, regardless of whether you also already use this technique or not, putting a set start and end point to many things in life is valued by almost everybody to promote the most efficient and effective result. And so I naturally got interested in looking for a scientific evidence of this technique. And surprise, surprise, there wasn't like a solid piece of scientific evidence that proved the effectiveness of the Pomodoro. Like, there are many research articles that partly prove the usefulness of this Pomodoro, but there wasn't any evidence that puts a set standard of how much time you should put into the concentrating period and the rest period. The 25 to 5-minute rule seemed like it was established based off of the author's personal experience, the author of the book I recommended. Nonetheless, the principle behind the Pomodoro technique seems like it has a substantial amount of validity. For example, this one piece of evidence included in the science journal Cognition had the study done at the University of Illinois on 2011, which concluded that if you had to choose between working on the same task all the way from start to finish, or dividing it up by taking short breaks, doing the latter would allow you to maintain concentration and effectiveness for a longer time. And this other study done at Tel Aviv University in Israel showed the effects of taking short breaks among working judges. It showed that judges who did not take short breaks, compared to those who did, gave parole more easily to prisoners. Basically, it showed that if people are not allowed to take short breaks and rest their brains for a little bit, will experience cognitive fatigue and end up making poor judgments. And in my opinion, because these studies point out the importance of taking breaks, the study routine that implements the basic form of the Pomodoro technique makes sense. So in essence, I would say that if and when you practice the Pomodoro technique, make sure to keep it simple and basic. And in terms of how much time you put within each stages, the concentration and the break stage, you need to test it out yourself and find the right amount that works for you. Other things that I felt when practicing the Pomodoro technique are, it works really well towards tasks you have trouble working on because of disinterest. Whatever task you don't feel like doing because it's boring, you should definitely try the Pomodoro technique. It also works well if the problem of you not being able to do it is because of a lack of self-control, or due to a sense of perfectionism. The Pomodoro technique works well for people who, for example, easily gets distracted, or people who can't seem to start because of thoughts like, this room is so cluttered and I need to clean up the mess before I can begin, because they want the perfect condition. And then they end up cleaning the entire house and waste a lot of time. Both of these issues stem from you relying on your emotion, since you might feel lazy or feel nervous of failing, so you're unable to start the task. The Pomodoro technique lets you sort of make the tasks into a system, one where no emotional fuel is required. When you try to do the Pomodoro technique for yourself, you'll understand that because the rules and the system of the technique is very simple, it's very easy to start. And because the only rule you have to follow after you begin the task is to focus on your task as intently as possible. Therefore, it easily lets you make the entire process into a system. If I press start and begin my set, then I will focus on nothing else but the task that's in front of me. If you haven't caught on already, this takes the same principle of the implementation intention, or the if-then rule. I also have another video that I suggest you to watch if you're new to this concept of the if-then rule. So if you want to know more about this very useful technique, you should watch specific techniques to scientifically manage your anxious feeling. I'll tell you right now that this implementation intention, and also the Pomodoro technique, relates greatly with the concept of habit making. So if you're interested in learning more about the science of habit making, then the video is down in the description section, so you can check it out after finishing this one. Okay, I see that I'll have to make a two-parter for this topic to make sure the video doesn't get too long and informative. I'll try to make the next video ASAP, so please be on the lookout for that. And you can do that easier if you subscribe to my channel, so don't forget to subscribe to Life Study Library. And also, like this video if you enjoyed this topic of psychology and science. The next video is about something you specifically need to be careful about when practicing this technique. I've already talked about the book and video recommendation. Again, you can check them out in my description section, so if you want to learn more about it, please check it out. You've been listening to Life Study Library. This was your host, Lye Yosh. I'll see you in another video. Bye!